Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 8. It's called If Memory Serves. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. Well, the first thing we have to talk about is the previously on segment,
Yeah, we do.
because we got classic Star Trek fonts, we got actual footage from the cage, the unaired pilot,
Yeah,
which every hardcore Trek fans seen because it's been on every DVD and Blu-ray set for the last 15 years. But um,
yeah.
so yeah, it's funny. Joe, I actually kind of appreciated this, right? Because one of the things we've spoken about in this show, and it was one thing we spoke about back in the first episode, maybe the second episode of this season, when they gave that weird excuse for why there's no holograms on the
Yeah.
Enterprise. And we've talked in the past, here or there, about it's kind of weird how this is set in the past,
Just,
but
just stop addressing it.
yeah, everything's slick and everything's different.
Yeah,
I think what's interesting about this opening is that you could have told me this was going to happen, and my assumption might be that that's just going to point out all the differences. In a bizarre way, though, I actually think it has the opposite effect, because I think the addressing it, right, and the trying to explain it almost comes off as we're ashamed of how the old shows looked, and we're trying to just justify why we've changed everything to make ourselves feel important.
yeah,
Showing this footage at the start of this almost felt like the opposite. It felt like, no, we're embracing it. Here's what it
yeah,
looked like. It's fine.
yeah. And I think that's kind of in keeping in with the episode as a whole. Like, there's a lot of
Mm.
points where it feels lower key. Um, this is absolutely certainly the most Star Trek episode of this show to date,
I could see that.
and it's also one of the best.
There's bold claims flying out. Yeah, I mean we got Michael and Spock going to Talos 4. We have Vina, who of course was the love interest for Pike, who is still there. We have an actress playing her.
Yep.
I'm going to go out on a crazy limb and say it's not the original actress from the 60s.
Hey, you don't know that.
But she's there, sort of almost as a welcome committee, essentially, to ease them into it, because Talosian's a bit more
It'd be
extreme
weird.
looking. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean Spock's seen them before, but Michael not so much.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, we got footage of Leonard Nimoy at the start of the previously on. It was weird. It was
Yeah.
cutting from that, and then it was like, here's all the lens flares and Dutch angles now. And I'm like, this is strange.
It is strange.
Oh dear.
Uh,
But again, it felt like
kinda
it was
liked it.
embracing its past, and I was just kind of okay with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It works. So it basically just boils down to they can help Spock because he's not seeing time in a linear fashion, and we find out the reason for that is because he actually mind melded with the Red Angel, and that messed up his brain. So
Sounds about right.
they can fix him, and we get some flashbacks to when he escaped the hospital. He didn't kill anyone, so either there's just straight up lying going on, or someone else killed those people.
Yeah, I could see it going either way.
Yep. And we see various other kind of flashbacks. We see the mind meld with the Red Angel. Then the big thing is that the price for fixing him and the price for seeing all these things in Spock's memory is that Michael then has to share a memory herself with the Talosians, specifically of the incident as kids when her and Spock had this fight. And I mean, there was a bit of a worry. I was like, oh god, the young Spock again. And he is there for a bit. I have to laugh though, because when we finally get this memory, after a couple of lines of dialogue, they transition to the adult actors acting out the scene, and I almost cheered. Cheered.
Yeah, because you have adult Michael talking to young Spock for a little bit.
I'm like, couldn't this been the other way about? Because young Spock's way worse.
Yeah, yeah, but this was still better than it could have been by having at least one of them at that point.
Oh,
as
sure.
well.
Absolutely. And I think once the scene got going, and that scene actually made me kind of gasp a little bit at one point, actually, because the actual final couple of lines Michael said to him were really, really extreme.
Well, yeah.
As a filthy half-breed, I believe, was the final insult. And
She really went for it.
And it cuts back to present day, and Spock's like, "Oh, I understand you were just trying to sever any emotional connection so that I would not feel upset that you'd left. It is logical."
Yeah, yeah. It's like, I get it. And
yes.
she's like, Yeah.
Yeah, but still, I feel terrible because it was an awful thing to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
And it seems it heavily implies that the reason why he is such a hardcore Vulcan, as it were, is because of this incident. It made him kind of de compartmentalize his human half and just kind of ignore it and shut
Yeah,
it out.
there's a moment at the end of this where he's smiling and
Yeah.
Pike comments on it, and it's like he has never smiled on the Enterprise before this.
Yeah, actually, it's Pike's face when he sees this. As he turns around and looks at everyone else for their reaction. That moment might be the funniest moment of
Yeah,
the episode.
the raised eyebrow.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Hmm.
So I mean that was basically their stuff. Um, the one new thing we learned about the Red Angel is that the Red Angel is definitely human. Now we, of course, have been theorizing humans left and right, but
And female.
well, we knew that already, though, did we not?
Well, yeah, but like without a shadow of a doubt, confirmed
Okay,
now.
right, but when it looked
Yes.
female before,
Yeah, it looked it, but they could have played some trickery.
whereas before we only said humanoid, it could have been another species, on Star Trek. It could have been
Yeah,
whatever. Future Michael's still my favorite pick, to be honest. Well, I say
Yeah,
favorite, but I say favorite, I mean favorite to be right, not favorite as in
it's
the most
what you're putting
interesting.
your money on,
Yeah.
right?
So Michael and Spock are back in the ship. It was a bit of trickery. I like the trick with Section 31, who are like pulling, rank and saying no, we're taking them. Something this may have popped up in Trek before, then we've just not gotten to it yet. But I actually really like the idea of two people trying to beam up the same person and what the consequences of that would be. Because when this standoff came up, I was like, well, this is a really interesting idea. Like two of them locking on and like wanting to beam them up.
Well, it is interesting. You're right. It's like, well, what happens? They're like, oh, we'll just pull them apart, and I'm like, sounds plausible.
Yeah, I want to see it though. I want to see someone be pulled apart.
That sounds pretty horrific. Was the scene in the first movie not enough for you?
It would probably be very reminiscent of that, I imagine, but
Yeah.
it was an interesting idea. So that was good stuff. So they're back on the ship, and basically Pike and the entire ship now are kind of fugitives themselves because they're going against orders, and they're going with Spock to try and figure things out. Because they don't trust everyone. Because basically Pike finds out that they were going to use that wacky technology to extract things out of Spock's brain, and all of a sudden, as seedy as they were before, now it's like, hey, they're actually doing things that we flat out just don't agree with.
Yeah. And naturally, all the crew are on board and don't even let Pike give his speech that he'd clearly been rehearsing.
I like that. Yeah, they interrupt him, and yeah. That was good. Speaking of humor, actually, I really like, because we know Georgia was trying to like take over and make Leland look bad, but see when she's like giving all these IDs and stuff to the council, and he's just looking around at her, and then she keeps offering more and more things, and then they ask her opinions for more ideas. The shit-eating grin on her face that entire time was kind of killing me.
It was very good. Not the funniest moment of the episode, though.
No.
For me, that came relatively early on. It was when Tyler came up onto the bridge and was like, "Hey, we're meant to be doing the probe. Why are we going to look for Spock?" And Pike's like, "It's fine. We're doing both." Tilly just sticks a head out from around the computer and just goes, "Step into my office, please." it just cracked me up.
That's good. Yeah, because they're told basically Georgiou's like, no, everyone in like Starfleet can look for Spock, but don't tell Discovery this because they've got personal connections. They might not adhere, and Ash doesn't know this exactly. He's not. I don't know. Well, at least as far as we know, he's not heard the specifics, but he knows they're not supposed to be leaving, so he's trying to enforce that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ash, though, there's some interesting stuff here with Ash and Hugh. And never have I rooted for someone in a fight more like I did this episode with Hugh.
I know, I'm like, oh yeah, hit him with that table.
Yeah, what, he snapped your neck, you do it in return. Come on now. Come on. Because Hugh's feeling weird all episode. He catches these glimpses of Ash walking past, and Stamets is trying to make him feel at home, make him feel comfortable, and he just feels weird, doesn't feel right. But there is something kind of wonderful this here at the end of the fight scene, where Hugh says he doesn't feel like he's in his own body anymore. He feels like something's changed, that he's not really him. And Ash says, look who you're talking to. And I'm like, huh. he is the only person on this ship who can relate to what he's feeling right now. In the sense that he was reformed into a... Because this was Volk's body. This wasn't the human body that the Klingon went into. This was the Klingon body that Ash's memories were kind of implanted into and then formed into him.
And then had some serious surgery done to it.
Yeah, so he was reformed just in this, not in the same way, but in a similar fashion, I suppose, as to what Hughes went through, where he's been reformed out of new DNA, or out of new molecules, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So there is this weird thing where they can actually relate to each other in a weird way that no one else can. But naturally, Hugh just says it's, looks at him and sees the man that snapped his neck. And just like the questionable moment I had in this episode is when Saru said, "No, let this play out. It has to play out." I'm like, Saru, you better back this up later, because I don't think I agree with you right now.
Sassy Saru in the elevator was cracking me up.
Oh, too. Sassy Saru is great. I'm digging Sassy Saru. But I like that, he had to explain it to Pike, and I like that Pike basically said, okay, but no more of that, right? Do you understand? We're going to follow the...
All right, I'll let it slide this one time because, exceptional circumstances, as Saru just explained.
Very saltily, yes, he points out that, yes, there's nothing in the guidelines about a Klingon who's become a human with human memories and a medical officer who just came back from the dead. Yes, there's nothing in the guidelines about that.
Yeah.
But I do like that he kind of still not in a harsh way, but he did kind of make it clear, right, this is not how we handle this. And make it clear to the crew that this is not how we don't handle it with violence, we don't do this. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad that was addressed. I'm glad that it wasn't. And I also like that from Saru's perspective, it's like, yeah, he is a little bit different after the evolution. So he's, he does have a cattiness to him right now.
He's got some attitude.
Yeah, a little bit of attitude. He's Alien Alfred is basically what I'm getting from him, to be honest.
Oh, he so is.
He's Alien Alfred. So that stuff was good as well. I mean, honestly, like everything was kind of working just on their own. It's kind of interesting in the sense that there's no big set piece in this episode in the same way that a lot of the episodes have had recently.
Yeah, I think that's part of why, I said it feels the most like a classic Trek episode.
Because classic Trek never had set pieces.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford set pieces.
Exactly. But the location stuff on Talos for, kind
Singing
of
flowers.
reminiscent. Yeah.
Except, of course, it looked like a real place as opposed to
it was gorgeous.
A backdrop with like a little bit of a set.
Yeah. But I really liked it.
Yeah. And there was some stuff with Vina and Pike and, kind of establishing that connection. And it's interesting because, assuming that the timeline does, because that was the other thing, is that the Red Angels try to like alter the timeline, and we see probably the only thing that fell flat for me a little bit in the episode is that the timeline that the Red Angel's trying to alter from the future, when we get glimpses of it and we see like Earth blow up, I was like, oh, Earth blows up, what shock. Like it's the apocalypse.
No, I get that.
It's the end of everything.
They've been saying all season, behind the scenes, the showrunners and such have been saying by the end of this season, canon will be synced up. Right?
Oh, interesting.
And they've been saying that a lot, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And we've been having them write in these awkward explanations for things all season. And I thought, they're just referring to those little bits.
Yeah, but are you suspecting that we're actually going to do something timey-wimey, and it'll actually separate Discovery from the original continuity, therefore fixing it?
Yes.
Yes.
Just subtly. It doesn't even need to be huge things, but just little tweaks might happen that, okay, put it on the path to where we would have been.
See, I'm kind of expecting the opposite. I'm expecting it to kind of solidify the fact that we're going down a new timeline, and it doesn't have to sync up with the rest of it. It can start doing its own thing, and characters who wouldn't have died but can die.
So you think this is starting a third Trek timeline?
Well, essentially, but I think the recent movie one is essentially null and void at this point. Like, I don't think that matters anymore. Sure,
but I think because for a long time people have been going, maybe this really is in the Kelvin timeline as it's called, right?
Oh, the movie one.
Because it's like stylistically, it's more similar.
Yeah. It's not so much that I feel like. Or they'll do the thing that we've been kind of joking about, where they'll get jumped out of the future, and at that point they're post the original series and early other series, and they can do whatever they want from there. But I feel like there's going to be, I have this gut feeling that something's going to happen where it's either going to be in a new timeline, so it doesn't matter what it does to affect the old series, or it's going to jump past the old series and therefore not matter what they do from that point on. Like, I don't know. I have this feeling that they're going to do something so they're not locked into prequel slot the whole time.
I don't know. I don't think they care that much. I don't think it.
Maybe they
I don't
don't.
think they're worried about it.
Should be. Always feel the prequel.
The prequel elements of this haven't been that bad. The worst bits have been when they've been trying to address it too much, like when they're trying to fix things. But just it being before it has never really been a problem.
Do you know what I think what makes this episode work actually as well as it does is because it's not. I mean, it's kind of a prequel and it's still set before Trek, but it's a sequel to The Cage. It's not a prequel to The Cage. The things in The Cage happened already, and we have aftermath and connections as a result of that we can play with, and that's why it works so well. Versus other plots where if they try to tie it into we almost ran into that little ship carrying all those engineered people from Earth that gets sent off several decades ago.
I'm with you.
It's almost like some sort of space seed. Let's ignore it.
To be fair, they've not really done any of that.
No, they haven't. I'm just using an extreme wacky example.
No. I just want to point out that to be fair to the show, it's had its problems, but that's never really been one of them.
Yes. I don't know. I see it pulling something.
Yeah.
Especially when you're telling me they've been saying things like that.
Yeah, I can see it going either way. Because, like I said, with them having all season been doing these little things explaining the technology, I was under the assumption that it was just going to be those that they were talking about. But maybe you're right. Maybe it is that, okay, we're just going to change it and do our own thing.
End of the season, weird jump happens, right? Don't know where they are. Little ship comes up. It's Picard. It's going to be set at the same time as a new Picard show. So we lead right into it.
Do you know what? Another thing in terms of changing the technology, to fit established canon. The spore drive being down this episode, being contaminated.
Oh sure. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that. But Artrium is she's behind it all.
Arium.
Is it Arium?
I think it's Arium, isn't it?
I'm confirming this. I
don't remember there being a T in that name.
Arium.
That was closer.
But there's an I there after the it's Arium.
Sure, but there's no T.
Whatever. You had the sound wrong. Mine rhymed with it.
Did it?
Yeah. Atrium, Arium. It's got the same flow.
It's just whatever.
Point is, she's been affected. She's been sending out dodgy messages, and they think it was Ash. They've locked him up.
I'm all down for assuming it's Ash.
They've confined him to quarters because they just assume it's Ash.
We know better, and I'm still like, yeah, lock him up.
Yes, but Arium, it's very suspicious right now. Obviously, has been scanning things, sending out messages, and now seemingly has manually corrupted the spore drive. And they know it's been manually corrupted because there's no, this gets checked every 10 hours. Like when someone's done this.
And this is my thing. Is this a permanent corruption? Is it something they can cleanse?
This doesn't feel permanent to me yet, unless they devote more time to try to fix it and it fails, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just more of a guess at this point. But. No, you know what? Season 2 of Discovery. 8 episodes in, it's had one dud.
Yeah, one proper. Yeah, the last couple of episodes I wasn't as keen on as you, but I like the first couple more than you did. So I mean, even so, I suppose.
Yeah, no, one proper dud.
Yeah.
Even the Ash stuff in this episode, I couldn't dislike because some interesting things came out of it. So,
there was, and basically everyone's treating him like shit.
I know, it's great.
I can get behind this.
It's cold.
Even after last episode's kind of Pike's begrudging, fine, I'll semi-respect you.
Yes.
Then still, now we're going to treat you like shit.
Yeah, this episode's hey, right, well, tell me what's going on with you and Michael. I was in love with her. And I love how you phrased it, I was in love with her, and she did not feel the opposite.
Somewhat felt a similar way.
Yes. She didn't run in horror, so basically... Yeah, it was mutual. He's like, And he's ready to pull him there and then later on, nah, you're getting confined. This is you, all these dodgy messages.
Yeah.
Unauthorized messaging and all sorts. Well, who knows what you're up to?
I'm loving Pike. I'm going to miss him at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'll say it again. I don't want another guest captain next season.
You want Saru or maybe for some reason Michael.
Saru. I want Saru as captain next season. I don't want another guest. I'll take a guest character perhaps, but I don't want them to be the captain.
No, I agree. I think it's worked so far in that the first season. Ignore the overall problems you had. I like the theory of the captain being, what went on with that. I like that. Using it here again as this intermediate bridge, and then 3 and onwards, we could just have Saru.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's this Discovery episode 8. So let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe.
No, and I think I don't think it was last episode, but it has been officially renewed now for season 3.
Yes.
Yeah, because obviously I know 3 or 4 episodes ago we spoke about the rumors. So I just thought we should mention that it is renewed now. So those rumors are all bullshit, which is good.
Yeah, it's been renewed. It's good stuff. So let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, you can head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can support us over there for as little as $1 per month. It's also worth mentioning we are working our way through Classic Trek. We finished the original series. We're about 10-11 episodes into season 1 of The Next Generation right now. We do them weekly as well, so you can keep an eye on them as well, and you can have fun with us.
Trek every week of the year,
trekking through the whole thing, as it were. And we're deep in the middle of Wesley Crusher right now, which is proving delightful. Better or worse than Ash Tyler? Oof, I mean,
that's genuinely a tough question.
God, we'd be quicker to solve the world's politics. Just in general, just all politics. We could solve all politics instead of deciding who was worse between Ash and Wesley. Anyway, not to be confused with Wesley Wyndham Price, of course, from Angel and the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So that is us. Thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. And to everyone but Connor, live long and prosper.